welcome to our ongoing series in OneSource tax provision functionality, where today we are going to talk about unit types and jurisdictions. So if I jump into the software, I am going to go to our administration area, which is where we set up our units. And in this area, you can see that when you create a unit, there are a few things you have to attach along with the unit code and the name, but you have to select a designation as to whether this entity is a domestic entity or a foreign entity. So we've got a little drop down here and you can see you can kind of toggle between the two. Once you've done that, you also need to select the country that your entity is registered in or doing business in, or just affiliated with. And then you select the currency code that you typically have your books in for that particular entity. So, and a lot of times you'll set these things up and you're not quite sure where this information is being used. So your currency is what you will see for your entities that are created in local currency. So when you're running your reports and you select an entity to run your reports on, so I will go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and select my favorite Dunder Mifflin, which is the one I've been using in my series. And if I run the report, it's stuck on reporting. So let me just trigger this again. And actually, let me see what else I've got in here. That's a foreign one, which will be more fun to use. That's my unit, I would say 1030 or unit 1050. We will go with American Dreams. Okay, so let me go back into my reporting and I'm going to select unit 150, American Dreams. It's local currency. And typically when you run your reports in local currency, it will put in, if this ever gets unstuck, it is going to put in the actual currency that you are running the reports in. I'm trying to trigger this and see if I can get it to run in local currency for me again. But if you select reporting, it is simply going to put reporting unless you have changed your setting. There's a setting area in the administration area that will allow you to make your reporting currency whatever it is. So if it's USD, you can change it to USD instead of simply saying reporting. But I'm going to try to run this now in my local currency. And what it should bring up for me, if it's unstuck itself, is the actual acronym for the currency that we have set up as the local currency. So this is typically the only place that you will see the currency is as part of the header in the reports when you run the local currency reports. Now, if you are running it in a consolidated group, you will not see the actual currency. It will simply say local because it's possible that you're running multiple currencies within a report, which we do have the option to do. Okay, so your foreign domestic designation really comes in on this particular report called a foreign domestic summary. Let me just run the sub-consolidation for this particular data set. And I am going to switch out of this because this will be a hash total. That was just the indicator that I am running multiple currencies. So it's just let me know that I would be getting a hash total. So I'm going to change to reporting and run it in reporting currency instead. So when I run this report, what this does is it gives me a breakout of my provision, so my current and my deferred provision between my federal, my state, and my foreign. So any of your domestic entities will be in these two sections, just called federal and state. And any of your entities that have been designated as foreign will show up in this section called foreign. And if they've got local jurisdictions as well, it will be in the foreign state section. So I know that sometimes one of the pet peeves or complaints around OneSource tax provision is that when you select a non-national jurisdiction, so anything that's not considered federal is just considered a state within OneSource tax provision. So all of your reports to find these localities, you would have to go into your state support area. But this at least lets you know where you have local jurisdictions that are also foreign. And it breaks out your effective tax rate as well between domestic and foreign. In terms of the country information, there is a report in here. Let's get into a deferred support area. The net deferred tax assets liabilities. If we get into the option, we have the ability to run this by country or by unit. So if I run the by country one, what it does is it drops out all of your timing differences and it breaks it out into your current assets and what you have sitting in current assets by jurisdictions, and similarly for the liabilities and assets, non-current assets and liabilities as well. Not very pretty, but at least there is that option there. And if you do by unit, it does something similar where it breaks out all the units across by their type and by their jurisdiction. All right, and while this may be limited, there may be other options if you've got someone within your shop that's good at possibly doing plugin reports that can potentially assist in pulling this data out of the database. But once the unit is sitting there classified as a foreign or a domestic and classified by jurisdiction, you will be able to grab that data into a report, a jurisdictional netting report that works for you. Okay, hope you found this informational and instructive, and look forward to seeing you on another session. Thank you.